This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
OPEC Plus will consider extending voluntary oil output cuts into the second quarter, 3 OPEC Plus sources told Reuters, to provide additional support for the market, and could keep them in place until the end of the year, according to 2 of them. Last November, the OPEC Plus agreed to voluntary cuts totaling about 2.2 million barrels per day for the first quarter this year, led by Saudi Arabia rolling over its own voluntary cut. Oil prices have found support this year from rising geopolitical tensions due to the attacks by the Iran-aligned Houthi group on Red Sea shipping, although concern about economic growth and high interest rates has weighed. Brent crude was trading near $83 a barrel on Tuesday.
Global liquefied natural gas, LNG, demand will grow in 2024 with top buyer China back in the market and consumption in Europe rising, a TotalEnergies executive said on Wednesday. ING has continued to grow, with China being back in the market but not yet at the level of 2021, Senior Vice President Asia-Pacific Exploration and Production Thomas Maurice said at an industry conference. With Europe, it's a new and big market, this demand will still continue to grow. At the same time, new capabilities will not be on stream in this very short term, so will continue to put a bit of pressure on prices and volatility.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
The European Union's wind power target for 2030 is within reach due to a rebound in investment and improved permitting procedures, an industry association report showed on Tuesday. In an outlook on the sector to 2030, Wind Europe forecast that the EU will install an average of 29 gigawatts (GW) in wind capacity each year, increasing installed capacity to 393 gigawatts. To meet the EU's climate targets, 33 gigawatts a year needs to be installed. 2/3 of the installations will be onshore, but offshore installations are expected to pick up rapidly towards the end of the decade. Last year, the EU installed a record 16.2 gigawatts of wind energy capacity, 79% of which was onshore.
India's thermal coal imports are expected to fall for the first time this year since the COVID-19 pandemic due to increasing domestic output and record high inventories, industry officials said on Tuesday. Out of 11 coal traders Reuters spoke with at the Coaltrans India conference in the western state of Goa, 8 expected shipments of the fuel to decrease this year, while the others foresaw flat imports or marginal growth. Surging production and supplies by world's largest miner Coal India have pushed stockpiles at power plants to record highs of over 43 million metric tons, prompting it to sell more to non-power sector users such as sponge iron and aluminium smelters, which have traditionally imported the fuel. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Mexico will impose tariffs on steel if its biggest trading partner, the United States, enacts such measures first, Mexican Economy Minister Raquel Buenrostro said at a news conference on Tuesday. U.S. calls to impose tariffs on steel imports from Mexico have been politically motivated and are not good for trade, Buenrostro said. The Mexican minister met virtually earlier this month with U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai, who during the call asked Mexico to address an ongoing surge in Mexican steel and aluminum exports to the United States and said tariffs could be reinstated.
China's lithium carbonate futures on the Guangzhou Futures Exchange hit an 11-week high on Wednesday, amid speculations of supply disruption against rising demand from the battery sector. The most traded July lithium carbonate contract jumped as much as 7.5% to 112,250 yuan, $15,592.66 per metric ton in early trading, the highest since DEC.11. It was up 4.5% by 0418 GMT, marking a fifth-day rally with a total gain of 14% from a 2-month bottom. Speculation about environmental inspection at the country's main producing region, Jiangxi province, sparked supply concerns.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Soft wheat exports from the European Union since the start of the 2023-24 season in July had reached 20.5 million metric tons by February 22, compared with 21.1 million a year earlier, data published by the European Commission showed on Tuesday. EU barley exports totaled 3.6 million tonnes, against 4.2 million tonnes in the corresponding period in 2022-23, while EU maize imports were at 11.5 million tonnes, against 19.4 million tonnes a year earlier. The Commission said that grain export data was only available up to February 22 because of a continuing technical problem. That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.